All right. Hopefully this is the last time I actually talk about the Super Bowl halftime show. We did this last night, but I wanted to bring this up because apparently Charlie Kirk responded to his stupid ass tweet he sent out. The NFL is now the league of sexual anarchy.
You live in sexual anarchy?
This halftime show should not be allowed on television. No fucking clue what he's talking about. Other than the references to sex in 50 Cent's song. I'm sorry, 50 Cent. I didn't say it correctly. Sorry I butchered your name, 50. Come at me. Don't make me walk with a limp, dude. I have no clue what he's talking about. There wasn't even any risque dancing or anything that could remotely be considered sexual anarchy. So maybe Charlie will clarify. I know exactly what it was. He's just saying more and more outlandish things to get traffic. It's this outrage culture. It's this outrage marketing. And the right has mastered it.
If I get attacked for protecting the innocence of children?
Get attacked for protecting the innocence of children? What the fuck are you talking about? First of all, you're an anti-masker. You don't give a shit about protecting children at all. I believe you're a Christian as well, which means that you support churches, which are nothing but organized pedophile rings. Fight me on that one.
Then I'm right over the target. I've had a great last 18 hours. I mean that. It's just so much fun when you like trigger the people on Twitter because you say something that's true. And so the Super Bowl was yesterday. I told them.
How is that true? How was the Super Bowl performers living in sexual anarchy?
You live in sexual anarchy?
Everyone not to watch the Super Bowl halftime show, and I had no plans to, so I took my dog out, and I came back in, and there was like 50 Cent coming from the ceiling with some scantily dressed girls in some incredibly provocative positions. And again, I encourage anyone to watch.
Were they? Were they in provocative positions?
Those like 30 to 45 seconds of 50 Cent and tell me like, oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. Like, sure, that's what a 6-year-old should see. And look, I grade the Super Bowl halftime show for good reason in a much more family-friendly direction than if it was like HBO Max or some sort of late-night television special, obviously. And look, there were 15 to 20 million children watching. Any sort of estimate, under the age of 12. It's network TV. And look, in all fairness, the Super Bowl halftime.
If you like Dr. Dre and shit, watch it. It was a pretty good Super Bowl halftime show. I enjoy live music. Sparkles and I watched it together. I always watch the Super Bowl halftime show. It wasn't the best the way people were saying it. Prince was hands down the best Super Bowl halftime show, but like it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Kendrick Lamar and Mary J. Blige the most.
Time show.
I said this last night. I got really upset when Kendrick Lamar did the intro to Forgot About Dre, and then Eminem pops up and he's doing his part about Forgot About Dre, but then he did the Mom Spaghetti song. I wanted to hear Forgot About Dre.
It was almost always kind of a, let's just say, celebration of degeneracy. And some people say, oh, Charlie, this wasn't as bad as it was in prior years. I never made that comparison. I was simply...
Well, what was bad in prior years? Jennifer Lopez and Shakira shaking their asses?
The National Football...
Shit, I didn't do it right. This is what he's referring to as sexual anarchy here. I'm going to let him continue to talk, and we'll watch 50 Cent.
And talking about 50 Cent's coming in, and I'm not going to read the lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
The tit.
If you read In the Club by 50 Cent, I think that all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, well, yeah, that's not meant for network TV. And look, our
Well, they kind of shook their asses a little bit, but like
we are making excuses for women literally bent over twerking. And someone sent me a message. Oh, Charlie, I do that move in the Super Bowl all the time. What, you mean the long snapper when he snaps for the field goal, or the
that
for the punt,
twerk?
or do you mean the woman in the halftime show? And so, look, I take this all in stride. I love the criticism. It's terrific. And by the way, I got criticism from every direction. It's fine. And we have really short memories when Snoop Dogg literally had a film where he tried to kill Donald Trump, or Eminem doing whatever he did. I'm not even talking about that.
That was like the duration. Like 50 Cent was only out there for a minute and a half. It was such a small part of the performance.
Main point, and I will continue to use my platform in good cheer to do this, is the protection of the innocence of children is a basic societal good. That's it. It's not about trying to like play some sort of moral referee. What I tweeted was very, very clear, and it went totally viral. The NFL is now the league of sexual anarchy. This performance should not be allowed
You live
on
in
television.
sexual
The
anarchy.
only change I would make is I should say it should not be allowed on network television. That's all I was saying. I'll probably tweet the exact same thing next year. And people said, well, it wasn't as bad as J-Lo and Shakira. I don't care if it's as bad as J-Lo and Shakira.
What was bad about J-Lo and Shakira? Like, Shakira did the little ass wiggle shit? Fuck.
Judging what I was watching. Look, Twitter is not real life. AOC came and attacked me because somehow I'm defending the innocence of children against scantily clad women.
Stop hiding behind children.
Like a long snapper.
Will somebody think of the children?
Look, the Super Bowl halftime show has a reputation. People say it's a spicy program. Okay, listen. Spicy, it's supposed to be boundary pushing.
Is it?
You have the most televised event. This is true. Most televised event for the entire year. One of the most televised events on the planet, by the way.
Who is saying it's supposed to be boundary pushing?
Reflection of the virtue that hopefully you want society to embody. And I'm not even getting into the whole kind of like rap lyrics and all that. I think that's a fine argument.
Cheerleaders are far worse than what any of the dancers were doing.
There is no one that could say, you know what? I think my 8-year-old should just sit down and watch that. And to a lot of parents, great credit, they turn it off and they...
If I had children, I don't like kids. Fuck kids. Not literally. Don't literally fuck kids. That would be bad. But if I had kids, I would not care if they sat down and watched that performance. I see nothing wrong with it. I was in show choir when I was a kid. There's nothing wrong with the dance moves. I don't see what your issue is, Charlie.
They made the kids go out of the room for the halftime show. But the NFL had multiple rehearsals. They saw that kind of dancing. They saw that type of behavior. It was a production of the NFL. There's no distance of it. And they think that's perfectly fine. And for that, I think it's reprehensible. And for all the attacks, bring it on. Are you kidding me?
I think you're reprehensible, Charlie.
Protecting the innocence of children? Then I'm right over the...
And I've got no problem with cheerleaders either. I have a friend that was a Indianapolis Colts cheerleader. Speaking of comments about the Super Bowl, let's see a few local news comments. Thank you, Adina Trey, who posted this. I don't know what local news site it came from, but I think this is hilarious. Barbara says, pathetic. Was this music? I'm disgusted with these so-called musicians. They got more musical talent than you do, I promise you. Diane weighs in. What a disgrace. Is this where we are as a society? These are their actual profile pictures, by the way. Ron offers his perspective. I would have rather seen a college marching band perform. Dave chimes in. Worst halftime entertainment in years. Darlene has thoughts. The best part was the fireworks when it was over. Stu, a human sunset, has this to say. I left the living room to clean the cat's water bowl instead. Didn't watch. Was told they were grabbing themselves. Ugh. Thank you for keeping your cats watered. I have 3 water bowls I am constantly refilling. Cheryl offers her thoughts on such unpopular artist. Terrible. I was sick of hearing it would be the best halftime show ever. In whose opinion? The entertainment should be more mainstream. I don't think you can get more mainstream than the people they had at the halftime show. I'm sorry, Cheryl. I don't know what's mainstream to you. I mean, coming off of what, the Straight Outta Compton movie in like 2014, Dr. Dre is a multi-time award-winning artist. The fucking 50 Cent song, I don't like that song. I hate it. I was doing mobile DJing when it was out. That was one of the biggest songs of the 2000s, hands down. John, a red car gained sentient states. We thought it was really poor, so we switched to the Munsters. Jackie's hot take. Worst think my eyes and ears have ever witnessed. Worst think my eyes and ears have ever witnessed. Pauline noted, too many washed-up entertainers, wasn't a fan at all. I don't know who was washed up in that. Peggy shares her thoughts, didn't care for it, don't like that. Fucking Snoop Dogg has a show with Martha Stewart. How does it get any more mainstream? Nancy remarked, not worth my time. I washed dishes and cleaned up food. That was more entertaining. Bet my food was better, Nancy. Susan asking the hard-hitting questions. Where were the Budweiser Clydesdales? There was an immense amount of talent on that stage. Absolutely, Leedy. They did not do my favorite songs. Like, I would take any Eminem song almost. I haven't listened to any of the newer shit. I would take, like, any song off the Marshall Mathers LP over the Mama Spaghetti song. Are any of the Beach Boys still alive? Didn't, what's-his-name just die the other day? Yeah, it doesn't get more mainstream than Snoop Dogg. But now, there was a lot of talk about what was and wasn't allowed at the Super Bowl. TMZ asking the hard questions of Dr. Dre himself. Let's hear from the man. By the way, fucking The Chronic. Oh, man, that absolutely was like the soundtrack of my, into my high school years, into my early college years. The Chronic 2001. Fucking wore those CDs out.
Where people are wondering if the NFL had any say-so in this. One of them being M taking a knee behind you at that point, and then the other being that Kendrick either he didn't say it or it was censored. We couldn't tell watching on TV, but there's a line where he says, "We hate the popo," and he didn't say popo, or at least we didn't hear it. Did the NFL weigh in on any of that?
Well, I'm sorry. There were a few things that we had to change, but it was like really minor things. M taking the knee, that was M doing that on his own, and there was no problem with that. I think, the beginning of Kendrick's sets, he says if Pyrus and Crips they had a problem with that, so we had to take that out. No big deal. We get it. But all in all, everybody came in. We were professional. Everybody was on time, and everybody really felt the magnitude of what this thing was and what we were going to be able to accomplish. And it was a fantastic experience.
We actually were going to put you at the top of the show, but you weren't available because I'm told you wanted to make a Burger King run because you hadn't had Burger King in so long because you wanted to be in shape for the show.
You know what?
Hey, those long chicken sandwiches are good.
And by the way, Harvey, it wasn't. I made a turn. Instead of Burger King, I went to McDonald's. There's something about those McDonald's French fries.
The fries, right?
Ooh.
How many people have been there?
I'm like, I deserve it today. I'm gonna treat myself and go on a pig out today.
Fucking treat yourself, Dre.
I think no one's gonna. You definitely earned that, man. Have all the McDonald's you want. You could have had both. Had McDonald's and Burger King. Hey,
right.
Just real quick, what did everybody else say? What did Mary J. Blige? What did Eminem? What did Snoop? What did they say to you? How did they react afterward?
Let me tell you, man, everybody was extremely excited. Mary Mary came back here to the house last night, and we went downstairs to the studio.
I think I'm most happy that Mary J. Blige got to be a part of that.
We were just vibing out because, you know, we're talking about working together on her next project. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be saying this or not, so I'm sorry, Mary. But you know, I'm excited about it. We're talking about working on her next.
And I didn't know about the whole backstory about her being in an abusive relationship and her being on drugs.
And music and
so good on you, Mary J. Blige.
Like and you know,
nothing but love.
Don Cheadle came over, and he's
Don Cheadle.
Favorite actors. You know, so you know, I just had a house full of amazing talent, and that's all we did. Just sat in the studio and played music and had fun dancing around.
Fuck yeah. Mad props to you guys.